My name is Frank Doyle. I'm 58 years old, and on Christmas Eve, in front of 19 people, my daughter-in-law's mother took my seat at the head of my own table. I grabbed the edge of the tablecloth on the way down. The gravy boat went with me. My glasses skidded across the hardwood floor of the dining room I built with my own 2 hands 20 years ago. Nobody moved for 3 seconds. But what none of them knew is that I had spent 11 years building something nobody could see. And by New Year's Day, that secret was going to change everything. Let me back up. My wife Carol passed 2 years ago. Heart attack, sudden, no warning, no goodbye. The house in Millbrook got quiet after that, too quiet for one man and a recliner. So when my son Danny and his wife Steph said, "Dad, just stay with us through the holidays, the kids miss you," I packed a bag and figured a few weeks wouldn't hurt. A few weeks turned into 8 months. I didn't mind, honestly. I helped with the yard. I fixed the garage door that had been sticking since summer. I picked the grandkids up from school on Tuesdays because Steph worked late. I made myself useful and I liked being useful. That's who I am. I spent 31 years as a machinist, then a shop foreman, then I ran my own small tooling business out of a rented warehouse in town. Doyle Precision, nothing fancy, just metal and patience and getting it right. Danny never asked much about the business. Why would he? To him, Dad just worked with his hands. He saw the calloused fingers, the grease under the nails, and figured that was the whole story. It wasn't. In 2015, I'd patented a small fixture design, a clamping mechanism that made precision tooling faster and cheaper for aerospace subcontractors. I didn't think much of it at the time. Licensed it to a bigger manufacturer 2 years later, then licensed 2 more designs after that. By the time Carol passed, those licenses were quietly paying me $190,000 a year, deposited straight into an account I checked once a month and never talked about. Combined with the sale of the warehouse and 20 years of careful saving, I was sitting on just over $4 million. Danny didn't know, Steph didn't know. Nobody knew except my accountant and God rest her Carol. I kept it that way on purpose. I'd grown up watching my own father get treated like an ATM. The second relatives found out he had 2 nickels to rub together. I didn't want that for my kids. I wanted them to love me for showing up, not for what I could write a check for. So I showed up. I just never mentioned the rest. Steph's mother, Linda, started visiting more that fall. Linda doesn't walk into a room, she takes inventory of it. First visit, she brought a Dutch oven for Steph, soccer cleats for the kids, and for me, a pair of slipper socks. These'll help with the cold floors, Frank. Men your age need to watch their circulation. Men your age, I was 58, Linda was 61. At dinner, Linda took the seat at the head of the table without asking. Nobody corrected her. I sat at the side, by the kitchen doorway, same place I'd been sitting since June. A month later, Linda funded a full deck renovation, $28,000, composite boards, a built-in fire pit, outdoor speakers. Steph posted before and after photos. Couldn't have done it without the best mom in the world. 600 likes. I'd offered to help with materials the week before. Steph had laughed gently. "Dad, it's okay, Mom's got it covered." The message was clear enough. What she didn't know, my license payments that quarter alone covered the deck 4 times over. One Saturday, through the kitchen window, I heard Danny talking to Steph while I was out back raking leaves. "Your mom's amazing with the kids. My dad's great too, just, he doesn't really do anything, you know, fixes stuff, sits around. I love him, but there's not much there anymore." Not much there anymore. I kept raking. I didn't say a word. Malice you can argue with, nothing you just have to swallow. Christmas Eve, 19 people. Steph's whole family, Linda included, plus my brother Pete and his wife. I'd spent the morning making the prime rib, Carol's recipe, the one with the rosemary crust, the one I'd made every Christmas for 30 years. Nobody asked who taught me. Nobody asked anything. Linda arrived at noon to help. She rearranged the centerpieces I'd already set, moved my place card from the head of the table, Danny's chair, my chair every year since we built this house, down to a folding chair by the kitchen pass-through. I picked the card back up, put it back at the head. "I'll sit here, Linda, thank you." She smiled, said nothing, and put her own card right back where mine had been 10 minutes later. Dinner started, 19 people, full house, full noise. I was at the head of the table when Steph's cousin showed up late, no seat left. Steph looked around the room, her eyes landed on me. Linda spoke first, napkin pressed to her mouth. Frank could move to the kitchen chair, he won't mind. I'm fine here, I said, clear not loud. The room went quiet the way a shop floor goes quiet right before a press jams. Danny's jaw tightened. He stood up, walked behind my chair, gripped the backrest. Dad, just move, don't make this a thing. I'm not moving, Danny. He didn't wait for me to stand on my own. He pulled the chair back hard, off balance, and I went down, hand catching the tablecloth, gravy boat following me to the floor, my glasses skating under the table into the dark. 4 seconds, nobody moved. Linda picked up her wine glass to keep it clear of the spill. Danny looked down at me, then back at his plate. My brother Pete was the only one who got up, hand under my arm, helping me to my feet, quiet. You okay, Frank? I was, my hip wasn't thrilled about it, but I was okay. Steph smoothed her napkin. See, this is exactly why things get difficult. I found my glasses under the table, one lens cracked corner to corner. I put them on anyway and walked to the guest room, my room, in my son's house, and sat on the edge of the bed. I didn't cry, I didn't call anyone screaming, I did what I do best. I opened my email. There it was, sitting in my inbox from that morning, unread until now. A message from the licensing firm that handled my aerospace patents. A new manufacturer wanted to sublicense one of my clamping designs for a defense contract, and that manufacturer's primary subcontractor, doing the metal fabrication, was a company called **Harvison Tooling **. Harvison Tooling, where Danny had worked for the last 6 years, where Danny had just been promoted to operations manager 3 months ago, his biggest project yet, a contract that, if it landed, meant a raise, a promotion, maybe a VP title in 2 years. Harvison needed my fixture design to bid competitively on the federal contract. They didn't know who held the patent. Danny definitely didn't know. My son needed the thing he thought I didn't really do. I read it twice. I didn't laugh. I didn't feel triumphant. I just felt the quiet, heavy click of 2 gears finally meeting after years of spinning past each other. I made 5 calls that night. First to my attorney, Carl Whitfield, updating my will, flagging the incident, asking him to document the fall with photos I'd already taken of the bruise on my hip. Second, to the licensing firm, holding the sublicense approval for personal review, no explanation given yet. Third, to a realtor I'd worked with years ago, about a 2-bedroom condo I'd looked at back in the spring and talked myself out of buying because Danny's family needs me more. Fourth, to my brother Pete, just to say thank you for being the one person who got up. Fifth, to myself, really, a voice memo recorded at 11:40 p.m. December 24th. Frank, tomorrow you pack 2 bags. You're done being furniture in your own family's house. I left at 6 a.m. on Christmas morning, packed quiet, stripped the bed, left a note on the dresser, thank you for the room. Dad, no anger in it, just done. By 9 a.m., my phone had 31 missed calls. Not one from Danny that came later, at 11:15, after his boss called him in a near panic about a stalled sublicense approval on the Harvison contract, and somebody at the licensing firm mentioned the patent holder's name, Frank Doyle. Danny's voicemail wasn't an apology, it was a question. Dad, are you the Frank Doyle on this contract? What's going on? Call me back. I let it sit 2 days before I called him back. You okay? He asked first, finally, voice smaller than I'd heard it in years. My hip's bruised, I'm fine. Dad, the patent thing, is that real? I've held 3 patents since 2015, Danny. I've been licensing them for 11 years. You never asked what I did after the warehouse closed, so I never told you. Long silence on his end. I could hear him doing the math, the way I used to watch him do math homework at the kitchen table, slow and careful, afraid of getting it wrong. Why didn't you ever say anything? Because I wanted you to need me as your father, not as a paycheck. Looks like I got the order backwards on what you actually needed. He didn't have an answer for that. Neither did I, really. Some things you don't fix with one phone call. It's been 3 months now. I bought the condo, 2 bedrooms, one for me, one that stays made up for when the grandkids visit, which they do every other Saturday. Danny drops them off. He doesn't come in yet, but he doesn't drive away either. Last week he stayed in the driveway 20 minutes, just talking through the car window about the Harvison contract, which landed, by the way, thanks in small part to a patent his own father held. He still hasn't said sorry for the chair. He has, twice now, asked how my hip's doing. That's not nothing. I've learned, slowly, the difference between nothing and a start. I built precision tools for 31 years. I know what it means when a part is off by a fraction of a millimeter, small enough nobody notices, until the whole assembly fails under load. Families work the same way. Nobody sees the small misalignment until the chair gets pulled and the whole thing comes down at once. If this reminded you to check on the quiet one in your family, the one who doesn't really do anything, go call him today. You might not know the whole story either. That's mine, a Christmas Eve, a chair, and 31 missed calls. If you've ever been written off by your own family before they really knew you, drop a comment. I think a lot of us have been there. Subscribe to *Dad's Secret Life*, and I'll see you in the next one.